Nicholas Castle writes, I just wanted to get your thoughts on Batman not being a good fit in the Justice League movie. I mean, he's the most profitable and popular superhero, so of course they'll have him in the movie. But for an argument, do you think that this movie could kind of tarnish his reputation? I mean, everybody except for Batman in the Justice League is basically God, and reason would dictate that they would be fighting godlike characters, and Batman is only mortal, with his superpower being super rich. So what is he really going to do when everybody else is flying and doing stuff with superpowers? I personally would rather see him get left out of this and save his image, but that's just me.
Nicholas, you have just completely pinpointed the #1 obstacle Warner Brothers now has and will continue to face in putting together a Justice League movie. Because here is your conundrum. On one hand, you absolutely, without question, must have Batman in your Justice League. He is your most profitable franchise. He is your most recognizable character. He, more than any other character, is what's going to draw people into the theaters and put butts in the seats. So your first proposition here is you absolutely must have Batman. The second proposition is what causes the problems. No other character in a Justice League movie has the potential to look goofy and silly than Batman does. You know, the YouTube is filled right now with these cartoon videos that are great of Superman and Batman. They're hanging around having coffee. And it's like, Superman's like, so yeah, I got super speed and super breath. I can fly around the world in 5 seconds. I can do this. I can lift mountains. What can you do? And Batman's like, I have the darkness. And, you know, and that's basically the epitome of it. When you have Batman in Christopher Nolan's universe, a universe without the supernatural, without magic, without aliens, without any of that stuff, when you have that Batman in that world, Batman is a titan. He's larger than life. He's amazing. But that's why Christopher Nolan always said, I never want to have the supernatural in this universe. I never want to have aliens. I never want to have magic, because it would diminish away from what Batman is. Now remember, some people say, well, in the comics they do this, and in the cartoons they do that. The comics and the cartoons are not the movies. This is a different medium altogether with different sets of rules. And Christopher Nolan knew that, and that's why he handled it so perfectly. Now you take this Batman, and you put him into a team, a dude who's just you and me with a fancy outfit and a batarang, and you put him into a movie now with Superman, Wonder Woman, the Green Lantern, the Martian Manhunter, these people who can lift mountains, who bullets can bounce off of them. You know, you put the Batman into that team, that creates a perspective problem now, because now this Batman, who in the regular world looked like such a titan, looks very small and mousy. So while the Justice League fights crime, does he run and grab the lattes? I mean, I don't really know. I have way too much respect, and I think that's why Christopher Nolan had all this respect for the character to make sure that he got the respect he deserved. How do you do that properly in a live-action Justice League movie? Christopher Nolan knew this was going to be a problem. Warner Brothers knows this is a problem. And if they can pull it off, because you have to have Batman there, and he's got to be the leader. You have to have Batman as the leader of the team. If Warner Brothers pulls off a good Justice League movie with Batman in there and not make it seem like that weird shifted perspective, that is going to be a monumental feat in filmmaking. And we will all have to stand and bow to Warner Brothers if they're able to pull this off. It's a huge task ahead of them. I hope they can pull it off. Amy Rose?
First of all, Nicholas, you're the cutest. You want to help save Batman's image.
His reputation's on the line, Amy Rose.
You're the cutest. And I think that your question was incredibly insightful, and that's true. Why do we think Justice League has been so hard to get off the ground? The thing
One guy, Batman. Yeah.
And of course they're not going to leave him out. That's their bread and property, bread and butter property. They're not going to leave him out. So it is kind of a difficult thing. And you know, I would personally like to see him kind of lurking more in the shadows, like I'm here if you need me, guys, kind of thing. But it's going to be really difficult, and I think that's what made his Dark Knight trilogy, Nolan's trilogy, so great, is that it did feel very grounded. But Man of Steel felt very grounded as well, and he isn't like an everyday Joe.
Right.
So maybe the intersection of the two could work, and I do think Snyder and Nolan are the guys to do it. They're not the only ones that can do it, but I do think that both of those worlds felt very grounded, and they are in the same universe. So I think that if they take this with the right kind of care and caution, that we could see it happen. But that is the biggest, you pinpointed it perfectly, the biggest trouble that WB is going to face, putting these gods in with. But the same could be said about Iron Man.
Yeah.
And he seems to be doing all right as well. So in the right context, I think that they could still show him in all his glory.
Especially with all the really cool toys Batman has. I feel like he can step up and be a part of it and used in a different way.
Super intelligent.
If you like this video, be sure to hit the thumbs up button and don't forget to subscribe to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It's free and we bring you all the latest movie news as well as our daily AMC Movie Talk Show. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter, where you can find out about all the latest prizes, giveaways, and special contests.